you look at the O'Toole platforms and Trudeau platform, they're the same. They want to impose a carbon tax. They won't do anything for the pipelines. They won't change the equalization formula. We will do the opposite. We will change the equalization formula to be fair to every province and be less generous. We will build pipelines by using the Constitution Section 9210, and like that, the federal government will have the full authority to approve every pipelines project. And also, we won't sign the Paris Accord, so we won't impose a carbon tax.
Warning, censorship.
I went to Fort McMurray to interview Maxime Bernier and his candidate for the region, Sean MacDonald, on local and national topics. Bernier gave his speech to a full house, and it started with a confession.
I must admit, sorry, I believed the lies for a month. Yeah. The first month. Never did. After that month, my common sense come back. My reason came back.
Bernier criticized the mainstream media coverage his campaign has received.
Oh, the PPC, they're anti-vaccine, anti-mask, anti-everything. No, we are for freedom, so we are for freedom of choice. Everybody must be able to decide if they want the vaccine or not.
He then continued to accuse Justin Trudeau and Aaron O'Toole with segregating Canadians.
They are putting us, dividing us between the good Canadians and the bad one. And I'm supposed to be a bad Canadian, and are the one that have the vaccine passport or the good one. But people who decided to take the 2 shots, what they didn't know is the vaccine passport has an expiration date, and the expiration date will be in 6 months when the government will ask them to take the 3rd shot, the 4th one, the 5th one. There's no ending.
Do we live in a Canada where your rights are never secure, even if you're fully vaccinated?
That's the question for this election. You're absolutely right. Trudeau and O'Toole want to promote more vaccine passport and promote the vaccine with younger people when they're not at risk at all. If you are 30 years old or less, you have more chances of dying from the seasonal flu than from COVID-19. So my answer to your question is, we will believe in people. We won't impose any vaccine passport. We won't impose any mask mandate. We believe in freedom, so we believe in freedom of choice. And I want to be very clear. I'm not anti-mask. We are not anti-vaccine. Everybody must be able to decide what they want to do with their body. Like the feminist said a couple of years ago, my body, my choice. It was right. It was good to say that at that time. It is the right thing to do and to say at this time, our body, our choice. But people must be able to decide if they want the vaccine or not with the right information, informed consent. So all these booster shots that Trudeau bought for $60 million until 2024, we won't need it in Canada. We won't push that. We will, our COVID-19 policy is to try to find other alternative. Yes, there's the vaccine, but there's other medical alternative to the vaccine, and we will promote more research for medical, other medical treatment, a pharmaceutical one or a non-pharmaceutical one. So that's the position of the party. That's very different than O'Toole and Justin Trudeau.
If anyone who doesn't have a legitimate medical reason for not getting fully vaccinated chooses to not get vaccinated, there will be consequences.
Translation, what Trudeau said, I will punish you if you don't have your vaccine passport. Dictator! What I'm telling him, Mr. Trudeau, no, we will punish you the 28th of September because we want to live in a free society.
Bernier wants to make it illegal for businesses to discriminate based on vaccination status, similar to what the governor of Florida is doing.
We must do the same thing in Canada.
Bernier's speech was mostly focused on vaccine mandates, which he opposes on the basis of legality and morality.
Because all that is unconstitutional, illegal, immoral.
Even though the vaccine mandates are the crux of the election, one cannot let that shadow other important topics, such as Trudeau's possible home sales tax. Even though Trudeau denies this, his party is being endorsed by an organization that advocates for higher annual property taxes. Just like the vaccine passport flip-flop, Trudeau has a record of broken promises.
First of all, we must say to Canadians that Justin Trudeau is lying when he's saying that. They will bring, and we know that they will bring a property tax or a capital gains tax on your house. We don't have that in Canada, and it will bring that. Why? Because of that huge deficit of $354 billion. He will need to tax us to be able to pay that deficit. And if he's not taxing us, we are paying right now with the Trudeau's inflation tax. Everybody are paying for the inflation for their groceries, 4 or 5 or 6%. That's a hidden tax. What we will do, we won't impose new taxes. We will fight the deficit to balance the budget. Contrary to O'Toole, contrary to Trudeau, we will balance the budget in 4 years, not by increasing taxes, not by creating a new tax on your house, not by imposing the capital tax on your house, by cutting the CBC, we will save $1.2 billion. Cutting foreign aid, we will save $5 billion. Cutting corporate welfare, we will save between $8 and $10 billion. We can balance the budget in 4 years if you have the courage of your conviction without increasing taxes. And after that, we will lower taxes to Canadians. So contrary to Trudeau and O'Toole, we are the only party that is fiscally responsible.
Inflation in Canada is rising like mad, and there is no reason for it to calm down. Despite billions of dollars redistributed to Canadians with the false promise of stimulating the economy. Yet, some politicians still have the courage to treat Canadians as if they are economically illiterate.
We need to have, absolutely, and it's so wonderful to see the consensus building around a guaranteed livable income so that whatever your circumstances, you can live with dignity.
As if printing more money would compensate the damage they have caused by inflicting lockdowns and segregation mandates. They promise cookies to Canadians, and 5 minutes later, they promise a cookie monster.
The time has come for this cookie!
They are talking about reducing the inflation, but at the same time endorsing such a policy.
Endorsing a policy that will create inflation because we are broke. We are broke in this country, and all these politicians are promising you money that we don't have. And that will create more and more deficit, will create more and more inflation. And like I said, inflation is a hidden tax. Instead of taking your own money in your own pockets and forcing you to give that to the government, what they're doing, they're telling you keep your money in your pockets, but you won't be able to buy the same amount of goods and services with that money. That's inflation. 20% inflation is bad. 2% is bad, 1% is bad, and that inflation, when you have inflation like that, your purchasing power is going down, your standard of living is going down, and everybody is poor. We need to change that. We need to have a zero inflation target. Like that, every Canadian will keep their purchasing power. So the answer to that question is we are saying no to new programs because we are broke. We need to balance the budget, and these other politicians are irresponsible because doing that, they will increase the inflation tax in this country.
My last question, why did you choose to campaign so heavily in Alberta when it's been a Conservative Party of Canada stronghold for so long?
Because we have a lot of support in Alberta, but not only in Alberta. I'll be in Ontario also this week, and I was in Atlantic Canada. But yes, I was in Alberta a couple of more days. We have a strong support here, and people are ready to vote for a real Conservative Party of Canada, a real Conservative Party, us, and not the fake Conservative Party that is the Conservative Party of Canada, because they're only conservative in name. And they know, if you look at the O'Toole platforms and Trudeau platform, they're the same. They want to impose a carbon tax. They won't do anything for the pipelines. They won't change the equalization formula. We will do the opposite. We will change the equalization formula to be fair to every province and be less generous. We will build pipelines by using the Constitution Section 9210, and like that, the federal government will have the full authority to approve every pipelines project. And also, we won't sign the Paris Accord, so we won't impose a carbon tax. And when I'm saying that here in Alberta, I believe that Albertans will look at it, okay, the PPC is the best platform for Alberta, but for all across the country, in every region of this country, because with these policies, we'll bring prosperity and unity in this country.
Thank you very much for your time. PPC candidate of the region, Sean McDonald, also had a couple words to say.
And talking about vote splitting, like Rob said, when I get asked that question when I door knock, I said, well, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. It's not working for Alberta. It's not working for this country. We need a change now. It's time to split the vote.
The candidate for the area, Sean McDonald, also had very interesting things to say. If you want to watch the full video, click the link in the description down below. Thank you for watching. This was Mocha Bezirgan with Rebel News. Have you heard the news? Hundreds of news companies in Canada received emergency bailout from Justin Trudeau. Not us. If you want to watch real reporters and support our work, go to realreporters.ca.